Hello, everyone. Today, the Erdogan's decree announced that the Turkish elections, the critical Turkish elections, will be held on the May 14th of this year, about 2 months from now. So it is kind of a short distance, short period for propaganda and very critical elections. Also, Turkey is hit by a major earthquake or two major earthquakes. So there are many issues, but Turkey also is at the critical crossroads, critical conjuncture in the global arena. So everybody is looking and curious about what will happen in this upcoming elections, which will hold presidential elections, parliamentary elections. We have municipal elections later on. So two major elections. As you know, Turkey transferred, or Turkey became a presidential system. So this will be the second presidential elections in the new system, which is a presidential system. And opposition, of course, keeps saying that they are going to switch back to the parliamentary system, and they will need 2/3 of the majority, which is almost impossible for them to gain in the parliament. So it's an interesting issue. But today, because it became official, the presidential decree the elections will be held on May 14th. So I wanted to share some ideas, some analysis of my own as a political sociologist about the strengths and weaknesses of both candidates. Now, it is not still clear whether there will be a third candidate from the Kurdish HDP, which is aligned with the PKK and other stuff, or maybe some opposition parties or even independent candidates. They might have maybe a chance, or they might try their chances as an either party candidate or an independent candidate. For example, the former candidate by the opposition, Muharrem İnce, he keeps saying that he might be run for the presidential race. So we'll see. But we know if there will be a third candidate, probably the elections will be decided in the second round. If more than one candidate, but if not, maybe we see the outcome in the first round. If nobody wins 50+ majority, then we'll have the second round. So we'll see. So the questions depends also on whether the other candidate will have. Let me open my table that I prepared myself, the strengths and weaknesses of each side. So one by one, let's have comparison. So we have Recep Tayyip Erdogan as the incumbent president, and also Kemal Kilicdaroglu as the candidate for the official camp. So on the economy, looks like, I think, of course, the economy stabilized recently a little bit, but with the earthquake and other issues, we have economy was shaken last year mostly. Of course, with the Ukraine war and other things, that the food prices, especially before summer, inflation become a negative point. But of course, we don't see this. This tend to work for the opposition economy. So, for example, the current government, Erdogan, who wants to focus mostly, or the agenda, opposition wants to keep it on economy, keep the agenda on economy, and the government also, of course, naturally try to move it toward a more maybe foreign policy and other strength areas. So we can say economy maybe works maybe for the benefit of the opposition, but this is not, of course, we know as a sociologist, ideology and social cleavages, etc., play also a major role. Economy is not the only factor that's affecting the voters' mind. So we see economy can favor Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu as the candidate. Of course, we have an earthquake, as a major earthquake, even 2 earthquakes. I think it's gonna, it's a big, I mean, big responsibility, also a big burden to recover from the earthquake. So in the early days of kind of lack of services or on-time measures to rescue teams and etc. Of course, like 10 provinces was hit, but I think this responsibility is put on the government. But of course, the opposition is not as bright as the government, because there were like Hatay province is ruled by a opposition mayor for 20 years. Also, it was hit by the earthquake very bad. So opposition, of course, criticized the government for lack of shortage. I mean, lack of taking enough measures and seriousness about earthquake capacities. But at the end, they don't deliver the same or better solutions. Also, there are complaints that they resisted the kind of restructuring, rebuilding the hit areas that are hit by the earthquake. So the government, I mean, of course, is seen responsible or seen, I mean, as a faulty in this respect, but opposition also is not very advantageous. So I put it equal minus for both sides. But when it comes to the recovery, especially with the campaigns that collected a lot of aid from the people, the businessmen, and even also from the international community, shows that the government, Erdogan government, has still maybe has an edge, has an advantage in offering a solution for people. So when Erdogan said we are gonna rebuild all these areas in 1 year, because the AK Party government is strong in the construction areas. I mean, generally, nobody said you cannot do it, or nobody said it's impossible. So there is a trust, maybe favoring the government or Erdogan in this respect. On the charisma side, of course, Erdogan has an advantage because he's more charismatic. He is also close to the more conservative sector that I will explain later, which about 2/3 of the Turkish population he is more conservative. So he has a good base and good resonance in cultural resonance among the people. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, also with more than 10 years and in ruling the main opposition party, is not seen as charismatic. Also, is being from Kurdish and Alawite origin, probably will impact in a more weaker way. So he doesn't have this charisma advantage. On the foreign policy, of course, the AK Party government or Erdogan has the advantage because Turkey became an arena for the foreign policy activism in recent years, and also Turkey was also strengthened seriously. Turkey was Turkey also was strengthened seriously during the AK Party time, economically and foreign policy-wise, open up to the Middle East, Africa, Islamic world, etc. So foreign policy activism is very much favoring Erdogan. The social base, as I mentioned a minute ago, and that social base with the conservative base, that is the 2/3. I put it 60 to 40, but they generally say it 65 to 35. But I mean, recent, of course, with the youth becoming maybe more secular, and this balance, of course, also social base is an advantage for the right-wing parties. And then, of course, with some minority parties like Saadet Partisi and Davutoğlu's and Babacan's party, they don't have major weight, electoral weight, but it can balance a little bit, maybe even push it toward 55 to 45. So social base is for the advantage of Erdogan, and this is going to be an interesting issue. The Kurdish votes are a major factor in this election. They will be a major factor in this election. Especially we have a conservative Kurdish electoral base. We also have more leftist PKK and identity-oriented Kurdish votes that are organized around the party called HDP. These are, of course, whether the HDP will push forward a separate, an alternative candidate, or in the second round, of course, even if they present a candidate, maybe in the second round, they can bargain with the both sides, but because Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu being Kurdish, a secular Kurdish, will help them. But with the conservative Kurdish, generally we see half of the Kurdish population vote for the AK Party. The other half is gonna vote for the HDP, and of course, AK Party has also MHP as a more nationalistic partner in the coalition, and with the Cumhur İttifakı versus the Millet İttifakı. So in this coalition, sometime it may impact, but also we know in the Kurdish areas, identity politics and ideology and religion makes a big difference. The Kurdish, being Kurdish, secular Kurdish, may not work for the total advantage. Also there is kind of having a nationalist party next to Erdogan is an issue, but also in the opposition camp we have İYİ Party, which has also an nationalist base. Also, this will cause some frictions and controversies that already we are seeing these controversies that might also work for the, for AK Party if some Kurdish or even nationalists. That's also the second question. The nationalist votes, these are generally Turkish nationalist votes. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, if he's seen aligned with the PKK and with the HDP, of course there is a big connection between the two, then this will backfire. Maybe lose this camp might gain some Kurdish votes, but might lose some Turkish conservative nationalist votes. Also can be, it's a big handicap, and it will require very precise calculations, and we'll see how they will manage that. Of course, we have youth, the young generations in Turkey that grow up under the AK Party. Of course, they get used to this system, maybe better. They don't remember the old hard days, if we name it like that. So they, of course, they want better. They have every right to ask for better, but at the end, also the young generation generally are more critical. So this being critical and also wanting some more change, generally plays at the hand of the opposition. So in the youth side, the opposition has an advantage. If we just summarize, maybe some more, youth is for the advantage of the opposition camp. Middle class generally more conservative, more okay, a little bit shaken by the economic hardships, but I think we can say still middle class is with the AK Party and may remain like that. And middle ages also, middle-aged people, they go vote for the AK Party more. And similarly, middle class, because it's shaken by the economy and some new developments, may help also some, so I put it like midway for the opposition, but it is favoring the security issues, favoring the opposition. Security issues, of course, favor the economy, especially having a hard fight with the PKK and cleansing PKK from inside. PKK cannot operate from inside the country. So this can be a success and also attract many people seeing, or the Kurdish areas like Diyarbakir and other areas are cleaned, are now safe from terror groups. So this can be a strength, especially with also with security investment like Bayraktar and also defense investments and successes can benefit the government. But of course, if they gain from the opposition, they might gain some Kurdish votes that are sympathetic to the PKK, and they can maybe criticize or kind of help the opposition. But we'll see, how this will play. I think this will not this won't be a big issue for the. Of course, we have also a related issue with the refugees. Opposition, they use, I didn't put it here independently, opposition tried to use the refugee issues, Syrian refugees especially, sometimes Afghanis and others. They try to provoke this issue, and sometimes it reaches to xenophobia and racism. And of course, the government tried to make this topic forgotten. And in the earthquake, I think there emerged some kind of sympathy with the refugees or Syrian refugees that are running for their life now. All of us became refugees in the earthquake-hit areas. So these voices, racist voices against refugees, now heard less. So this would be another topic. In the foreign support, of course, if you remember, I just shared also a video in my account. President Biden, before the elections, he promised that he's gonna help the opposition and to topple Erdogan. I think this plan is still at work, and we know they are even the Western media and Western leaders, Western circles. They like to see opposition, Kilicdaroglu, as the president, because they are gonna be a Western ally or Western pro-Western government. Of course, this will maybe cause some concerns, and they are working. The Western media and their outlets are working inside and outside for a long time to weaken Erdogan or to discredit Erdogan. So foreign support favors the opposition more than Erdogan. So previous successes by each leader will be an important topic in the elections, because everybody will want to show that they are successful, and they will add to their successes. Of course, electoral success is one thing, and Erdogan has proven that he's capable of winning the elections. I think it's gonna be in the minds of the voters that this guy is, is a favorite candidate in the elections because he won before, like more than 10 elections, local, presidential, parliamentary, and referendums against Kilicdaroglu. So this will be a big advantage for Erdogan, building on the past successes. Plus, also on the practice, especially like municipalities and other things and building. For example, one issue with the housing problem we have, the opposition, of course, criticized after the Ukraine war that many of the houses were bought by foreigners, even Russians, Ukrainians, and other Arabs, and etc. And opposition was criticizing that house prices is getting up and people cannot afford to buy houses. But I mean, along with their criticism, they did not offer any solution. One solution, the opposition, now Kilicdaroglu, a month ago, he declared, he said he's gonna ban the sales of houses or apartments to foreigners. But in the meantime, AK Party government announced that they're gonna build 500,000 houses. I forgot if it is flat or houses. I think it was flat, the total number, 5,000 flats, let's say. And so this created a big push, big momentum in favor of the government, AK Party and Erdogan. And I realized, I noticed the kind of disbelief and disappointment on the part of the opposition, the kind of why we didn't think about this. You know, sometimes just saying no or the criticizing doesn't help. So being solution oriented is an advantage for the AK Party also. If we just continue and finish these lines with previous successes, definitely for the advantage of the Erdogan, and of course those who join late. This line, the first line, is weaknesses and shortages. This line for Erdogan, the second line for the Kilicdaroglu. We are comparing their weaknesses and advantages. And previous successes, of course, are clearly for the advantage of Erdogan. With the media, of course, media is going to play a serious role in this election. And of course, we are living in a global world. Everything is connected. We see the advantage of AK Party and Erdogan on the traditional media, TV stations and newspapers, etc. And there are some TV channels, and also CHP has its own party channels. AK Party has pro-government maybe channels, we can say, but they don't have official channel, and the CHP has Halk TV as the official party channel. That's also active. Also some aligned, and we see some opposition channels. Maybe they found resources from outside sponsors. They began to, like opposition newspapers, they began to open also TV channels, and of course they are trying to limit this disadvantage. But on the social media, and using the social media with internal and external connections, and also maybe cultural and economic capital, we can say the opposition has the advantage. They try to set the agenda every day with the trending topics, with the issues and the agenda. They have the advantage, and they are trying to use that on the social media, always trying to bring economy, bring the earthquake to the agenda rather than foreign policy or other successes from the government. So finally, the coalition features, as I mentioned, having, of course, as I said, the Kurdish voters, either HDP or non-HDP Kurdish voters, conservative Kurdish voters will be critical. Who is going to win these votes will be very important. If HDP joins officially with the Kilicdaroglu, this will be more complications for the opposition, because they might alienate some of the coalition like İYİ Party base, which are more nationalistic and can be used against them. If they don't enter, if they don't give anything maybe to the HDP, maybe they say we are neutral, and then of course this will be an advantage for Erdogan. But I don't think HDP is gonna leave the table, especially with the strong connections with America and stuff, with Europe. I think HDP, even though Kilicdaroglu don't give them anything, they'll be voting for the Kilicdaroglu. But of course, the public, they have a very strong control on the public, but there are many also non-aligned Kurds, sometimes conservative Kurds, sometimes liberal Kurds that are not nationalistic, that can be very decisive in these elections. Of course, there are talks about expanding coalitions from both sides. You know, they are trying to attract other parties to join their coalition. Of course, the momentum after the nomination and the declaration of the election date, and also now we have two official candidates, Kilicdaroglu, and the momentum will determine if there will be an alternative candidate, either independent or party candidates will see, and how they are gonna vote, how they are gonna align will decide the elections. But in any case, Turkish people will decide the elections. That we are very glad. And maybe just some implications, as I mentioned before, Kilicdaroglu and the support coming from the West for him is very clear, and he's gonna be very pro-Western, and he said it before. He doesn't hide it. So Turkey will be, in foreign policy, will be like dependent on the West. If Kilicdaroglu wins, if Erdogan wins and continues, Turkey will continue its independent policies. Of course, this is gonna be worry maybe like Russia and China, or maybe for the Arab world, if they want Turkey more open or neutral, or if they want Turkey like the old ways that is aligned with the West and act like whatever they want. So we'll see. But the Turkish people has now a very hard choice to make, whether gonna be a new Turkey with an independent Turkey, or the old-fashioned that's kind of a weak Turkey and pro-Western Turkey. So Turkish people will decide the best, and we'll see how it's gonna turn out. So wish the best, and we'll see you in other programs. Please don't forget to like the video, also to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.